There are 6 different uses for a redstone repeater. Do you know what they are? If not, keep watching to find out. Hi, I'm MistRazor, and welcome back to Redstone from Zero, a series where I teach you redstone assuming that you start knowing absolutely nothing about it. This is the second episode, so watch the first episode if you haven't already, and the first episode is about redstone torches and redstone dust. Today we're going to be talking about redstone repeaters. At the end of episode 1, you'll probably remember this circuit, which is essentially a prototype of a redstone repeater before it existed as a block in the game. And this illustrates the first use of redstone repeaters, which is to extend a signal. So as you can see, if we have 15 blocks of redstone dust that are just starting to become unpowered, and we put a redstone repeater on the end, then the dust that comes after the repeater will have its power raised back up to a power level of 15, and allows you to send a redstone signal more than 15 blocks away. And to make things a little bit easier to understand, going forward, I'm going to have the redstone power levels resource pack from Vanilla Tweaks enabled. So we'll just go into our resource packs options, and we'll turn on redstone power levels. And now when we look at redstone wires, we can see exactly what the power level is. So here, the power level is down to 2. Oh, actually, I guess I must have discounted. This would also work if the input was power level 1. But the output of it does go to 15. And this will make things a little bit easier for us to see. So that's the first use of a redstone repeater, which is to extend a signal. And now we're going to talk about the second use of a redstone repeater, which is providing strong power. So the difference between strong power and weak power is a strongly powered block essentially becomes a redstone power source itself. Whereas a weakly powered block will activate if it's a redstone component, and will activate any redstone components that are adjacent to it, but it won't propagate redstone power to any redstone dust that's adjacent to it. I'll show you what I mean. So let's set up 2 redstone power sources. One of them will have a repeater coming out of it, and one of them will have redstone dust. And both of these will power a block. So this one is strongly powered, and this one is weakly powered. So the difference between the two is that when I put a redstone dust next to the strongly powered block, we can see a power level of 15 comes out. But when we put a redstone dust next to the weakly powered block, no redstone power comes out. Now, this isn't unique to redstone repeaters. Any sort of redstone activation device, like a lever or a button or a pressure plate, they all provide strong power. But one neat thing about redstone repeaters is that when you attach them to a weakly powered block, they can still pull power out of it, unlike redstone dust. And obviously they can pull it out of a strongly powered block as well. Okay, so let's talk about the third use of repeaters, which is adding delay. So we will start off with a piece of redstone dust here, and then we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of redstone dust there, attaching to a redstone lamp, and then we will have 5 redstone repeaters attaching to the redstone lamp. And when we place down a torch to power this lamp is going to go on right away, and this one is going to have a bit of a delay to it. So you can actually see the redstone signal propagate through the repeaters because they slow it down. And the repeaters are actually configurable. You can increase the delay from 1 all the way up to 4 just by right-clicking them. So now it's going to take a lot longer to get through, and you'll see it gets there eventually, and it slows down both the signal turning on and the signal turning off. And by the way, when I'm talking about adding 1 to 4 delay, I'm referring to that in redstone ticks. There are 10 redstone ticks in every second, and 1 redstone tick is equal to 2 game ticks, because Minecraft updates 20 times per second, or at least it does when it's not lagging. So with 5 repeaters at 4 delay each, 5 times 4 is 20, that's 20 redstone ticks for 2 seconds. So when we do this, yep, 2 seconds. And that brings us to the fourth use of repeaters, which is related, lengthening pulses. So if we start off with an observer and a note block, and we will cover observers at a later date. Currently, the only thing you need to know about them is that when they detect a block change, they emit just a very, very short pulse. The shortest pulse possible, actually. It's called a one-tick pulse. So if we add another observer here and attach a repeater to it, you will see that at first the repeater adds a little bit of delay, but the length of the pulse is the same. It's still a one-tick pulse. It's just delayed by one tick. You can see how this line lights up when this line stops being lit up. Blink, blink. Just like that. And if we increase the delay, then you'll see that the delay between this one and this one increases, and also the length of this pulse increases. See? It's delayed by a lot more, and it's also a lot longer. And the thing to know about lengthening redstone pulses with redstone repeaters is that the pulse lengthening is not cumulative. So if we have two of them that are increased to 4 redstone ticks each, then these actually are going to have the same pulse length. It's just this one will be delayed by 4. So we're going to see this one turn on, then this one turn on, and then when this one turns off, this one will turn on, but these two will both be on for the same amount of time. So check it out. And there you go. The fifth use of repeaters is to make the redstone signal propagate in only one direction. In electronics terms, we'd call that a diode, which is something that we use to make the electric current travel only one direction and not be able to travel back the way it came from. So as an example of this, let's say that we've got a button that's wired up to some redstone dust, that's wired up to a redstone lamp, and then there's a second redstone lamp, and that's wired up by redstone dust to a pressure plate. And we want to make it so that way if you press the button, only this lamp lights up. But if you press the pressure plate, both lamps light up. So currently, if I press on the pressure plate, both lamps do light up, which is great. But when I press the button, both lamps also light up. And we only want this lamp to light up when this button goes off. So the way that we can do that is by adding a repeater and using it as a diode. So you see the little arrow on the repeater means that the current can only flow in this direction, or rather the redstone signal can only propagate in this direction. So when I step on the pressure plate, both of the lamps light up, but when I press the button, only this one does. Because as you can see, the redstone signal just stops right there. It can't get any further because it can't enter the repeater from this side, because our repeaters are a one-way gate. All right, so there's still one use of repeaters left to talk about. And I don't want to overload you with too much information. Well, I'll just tell you up front that I don't actually use this functionality very often, but you should know that it exists. And that is repeater locking. So if we have one repeater that is here, and it's outputting a redstone signal, and then we've got another repeater here that's leading into it. See how this little bar goes across? That means that this repeater has become locked because there's another repeater is powering it from the side. So even if I get rid of this torch, it still outputs redstone power until this repeater becomes unpowered, in which case this will become unlocked. And if I lock it like this, then even if I power it from the back, it won't output. So when you power one repeater from the side by another repeater, it locks it in whatever state that it's currently in. So I guess I'll make another one of these for example purposes. There. This on. So you can see that even when we're providing a redstone torch here, it doesn't output, and even when we aren't providing a redstone torch here, it does provide an output, because these two repeaters have been locked by using another repeater to power them from the side. Alright, so let's review the concepts we've talked about in this video. The different uses for a redstone repeater are extending a signal beyond 15 blocks, providing strong power or pulling power from weakly powered blocks, adding delay, lengthening pulses, and remember, delay is cumulative, but pulse lengthening is not, acting as a one-way gate to make redstone signals propagate in only one direction, and finally, to lock another repeater in its current state. Well, I hope all that makes sense. And if it doesn't, or if you just have questions, leave a comment and I'll do my best to clear everything up for you. And if you found this video useful, go ahead and hit the like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! bye.